Good afternoon everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or it could be morning or nighttime for you. I don't know what it is, but welcome back. Currently just sitting here in my toasted cheese sandwich. I'm going to be filming a story time video today. I wouldn't say a lot has happened to me, not a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, I have a few, some don't know if I can put out there. Parents will kill me kind of thing, you know? Yeah, you've seen the title. Before you watch any more of this video, make sure you give this a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because you just know that you're gonna love it. I'm gonna get straight on into it. This happened whilst I was at work. Most of you would know that I work at McDonald's. I'm not gonna say where for safety reasons, but I work at McDonald's. If you go around to every McDonald's on the Gold Coast, you will eventually find me, and when you do, please say hey. You're probably wondering how this happened. Well, that's why this video exists, because I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you how this happened. And it's probably not gonna be as crazy as you think. Let's just say I was working, because I was working. I was on register, so I obviously take people's orders. We get a lot of personalities here at my maccas. We get a lot of weird people, a lot of normal people too, but like a lot of personality, okay? A few little things have happened here where I've had to deal with some customers which are just very difficult. This one customer in particular was extremely difficult, but it is kind of like the tiniest bit my fault. Basically, I don't know his name, so I'm just gonna call him Todd. So he was like 30, 40, 50, I really don't know. Not 30, like 40 or 50. Maybe 60, I don't know. He had just gotten out of a taxi, so he got in a taxi to come and get him some McDonald's, but it wasn't through drive-through. He came into the restaurant. He asked me for a coffee. And I asked what coffee, because he just said coffee, and I asked what coffee do you want, you know? And he said the coffee, and okay, I'm just gonna say I don't drink coffee myself, only my little iced mocha from Zaraffa's or maybe sometimes McDonald's. That's the only coffee I drink. It's the only coffee I know, and this was back quite a few months, and I still didn't know a lot of the coffees because I'm not a coffee drinker. I might sound like I'm just don't know anything, but like I just don't know many coffees. So I can see all the coffees on the register, and he said this one coffee, he wasn't calling the coffee the name of like what it was coming up on the screen. So I was a little confused and I didn't know what coffee he was trying to ask for, and I kept saying I'm sorry, like what coffee, like I kept trying to get him to repeat it. Maybe I was just really dumb and I just couldn't find like the name of the coffee, but no, it wasn't there. And he was kind of getting a little, I think he was drunk or under the influence of something. I don't know if that's what he's like just usually, which is not okay. And he walked out back to the taxi driver and asked again, because I think it was the taxi driver's drink that he was trying to get. Came back in and was saying the same thing, and I was just like, I'm sorry, like I don't know what coffee that is. I don't know what you're trying to, you know. I think I finally got it. I don't really remember. And I put the coffee in, and then he just walked off again, like before paying, and I was so confused. I was just like looking around. There's other customers. There was another family there, and the family's kind of like, they could see kind of what was going on, and I looked at them. I was just really confused, like why he just left before he had to pay. And then he came back in and kind of banged on the door a bit, because he was obviously getting mad by this point because I just couldn't put down his freaking coffee. So he had left his wallet in the taxi driver's car. He came back in with the wallet and paid. As he was doing so, he was just complaining about me, kind of yelling out at this point, saying like, why do you have such young people working here? Obviously they can't do anything. Obviously they don't know anything. You must be really new. Hey, you can't do anything. Giving me all that kind of crap. And I was just standing there taking it all in, because I can't really say anything and I don't want to say much that can possibly, like, I don't know, make it get worse. Todd had also ordered a meal for himself, and it was a McChicken meal or something like that. It had chicken in it. Then he kind of just moved away, and the next family came up, and the family asked for 4 ice cream cones. And I was like, yeah, sure, there's no problem. I put them through. They asked for 4 ice cream cones and I put 4 through. They would have seen it come up on the register. They would have seen that they paid for it. They would have seen it on their receipt. Okay, just keep that in mind. I think there was only me and one other person in the front counter area that were just crew. A couple managers or doing drive-through kind of stuff. So there was just only me and one other person, I think. I was packing the order as well, so running, which is when they just like get the burger and the fries and everything, pack it and then call it out. I was waiting for his food to put in the bag and there was a wait on chicken. So once they said that, I started making the ice creams for the family. And I don't make the coffees, so there's a specific McCafe person that would make the coffees. Usually they call out the coffee separately to the food, and this time she just happened to not call it out separately and just placed it on the bench. And I had my back to the bench because I was talking to the other people about the chicken, and then I started getting the ice cream cones, so I didn't ever see the coffee sitting on the bench. And so I get the cones for the family and they're like, we wanted 5. I was just like, I'm sorry, it has 4 on the docket, like, you know, you paid for 4. So Todd obviously heard this and he's going on again, like, you can't do anything right, you shouldn't be working here at McDonald's. Anyway, and then he starts screaming like, give me my coffee, I want my coffee. And like, the other girl just walked past and like gave it to him, like, in, you know, it's just been like on the bench, like right in front of him, and he's screaming like, I want my coffee, I want my coffee. And I'm just like standing there. I was just packing his food and I did not expect this to happen, but he was just like, no, it's been cold. It was not cold, it was only there for like an actual minute. This was over the course of a minute or 2, so it was just sitting there, like it wasn't there for like 5 to 10 minutes where it could have gotten cold. It was still really hot coffee, and he was complaining that he wanted another one, and he picked up the coffee cup and he threw it at us in the kitchen and it went everywhere. It just missed the McCafe lady. It couldn't hit any one of us, and it just missed her as she dodged it. And he threw the hot coffee at us. Before he threw the coffee, the managers were already kind of saying like, don't raise your voice, can you just keep it friendly, you know, for the restaurant. There was another family there, there was other people in there, and he was just yelling and raising his voice, so they're obviously trying to calm him down. But once he threw the coffee, it kind of just like escalated really quickly. So then we had like 3 managers out the front, like telling him that, you know, he can't do that, and obviously all that kind of stuff. And then he's screaming that he wanted them to make him another coffee. So by this point, we had another manager that had to go by the door and have the door locked and stand outside and tell people that were walking past or that were going to come in that they just wait outside for a bit because of what was happening on in the restaurant. One of the managers had to go around and start making the coffee again, and he walked into the restaurant and walked behind the counter and walked around the side to where the coffees were being made, and he's swearing by this point, calling us bitches. One of the managers obviously was like, you have to get out of the kitchen, you're not allowed to be back here, sir, like we have to remove you. And he wouldn't listen, and he was just still swearing at the managers, saying some mean things. By that point, we had to try and get him to leave the restaurant, obviously, because it was just getting too much. He left the restaurant, and that was kind of it. Then the manager was letting people come back in and everything, and I thought that was going to be it. But then the managers obviously had to get on the phone, and they were on the phone to the police and pretty much just describing his behavior and everything. And then about 15-20 minutes later, the police arrived and they said that they had found him and they arrested him for public disturbance. They were talking to the manager, and then the manager looked over at me and she was like, Montana, give this my hand. I was like, I just want to die right now. I had to talk to the police and to my manager, and they kind of just were like, well, we understand that you served him, so you obviously spoke to him the most, and can you tell us exactly what happened from your point of view and what he was saying? Did he do anything physically to you or to anyone? So the fact that he threw the coffee, like, if it had hit someone, then it could have gone down as something else, but because the coffee didn't hit anyone, it didn't harm anyone, so they couldn't arrest him for that. I had to tell them everything that happened, and then basically they said, like, checked that, like, you know, we have camera surveillance here, so they're saying, like, if he goes to court, you can use that against him. Obviously the footage of it all happening and everything, and it just got really intense. Like, I'm just a 17-year-old girl just coming in for a little day at work, just for a short shift at McDonald's, doesn't know much about coffee, and ends up getting someone arrested. That's just fun. That's what you want your Saturday night to be like. And yeah, so that's pretty much my story time today. I really don't understand why some people have to be like that. Obviously, I didn't know what Coffee was talking about. He ended up getting it in the end anyway. It really just, nothing like that needs to happen. The managers then had to come like ask me if I was okay and everything. I honestly just felt like crying because I just felt like shit. It really was taken by surprise. Like, it was just a shock to me that that had gotten to that level. I remember getting in the car straight away and I just started crying because it just, like, you don't expect that to happen just on, you know, a shift. Sometimes you gotta deal with customers like that. I definitely think that he was either drunk, or I don't know if he had taken any drugs. I don't know, he was just really aggressive. I guess that's just some people for you, and I guess we're gonna find a lot of those types of people in the area that I work in. Anyway, that's my story time. He was banned from the restaurant, so obviously haven't seen him since, and I don't wish to see him ever again. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.